Good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have some Hold My Beer. Very rare on this channel, sort of at the moment. We do replays, but it's not as often as we used to. We used to do them every day, but now there is a little bit of. I've got so many replays. I've got loads of replays, but the majority of them are either Hold My Beer or that sort of uprising mad games not Hold My Beer. Sorry, they're all World of Dummies, or they're just not good enough for the channel. However, we do have a couple of replays for you today. Both of these are on Castilla, and both of these are pretty much they're separate sides of the map. One is the Jagdtiger and one is the E75. Two tanks that we very rarely see on the channel. Now, the Jagdtiger held the DPM crown for a long time. It was the highest DPM tank for a very long time. But the SU-122-54 overtook that when Wargaming buffed it a few years back. It's a good tank in the right situation. I mean, you have to be using that DPM. The armor profile is, hit and miss. It is troll. The bottom plate is very weak, but if people start switching to gold, to premium rounds, then they're going to get through anywhere pretty much on the front plate, anywhere. The front plate, upper plate, bottom plate. So it's a very situational tank. Of course, it is a slow tank. So basically, the only decent thing about the tank is that DPM. It is an absolute beast of a tank when it comes to DPM, as that IS-3 has just found out. Now, this is the best position for this tank. It is not a tank where you can YOLO. It is definitely a tank where you have to snipe. The accuracy, I mean, is okay. It does the job. The aim time does the job, but it really is all about that DPM. When people mention the Jagdtiger, they don't mention anything other than the DPM. You can see the traverse is pretty slow there. Camper, says the Object 252U. Well, yeah, we are a TD. So that is what we should be doing, especially in a tank like the Jagdtiger. Now, he is now pushing this T-54E1. He is a one-shot. It's not the quickest of tanks either. So if you get caught out in the open, like in this kind of position, if this heavy tank or a medium tank, sorry, was to get behind him, then he would be in the worst position possible, because it is so easily circleable. And as you can see, he's just getting ripped. The armor profile was not really doing anything. He is going to bounce a shot there, which he's only about 710. So he is a one shot. This guy is pretty much, he was almost full hit points, and now he's in a situation where he is getting circled. But luckily for him, he has his team with him who are also doing damage to this AMX 5120, and he is now able to take him out for his third kill, leaving just 3 tanks left alive, 2 tank destroyers and a light tank. So he's already done his damage. He's already done his job. We can't really ask anything more from the Jagdtiger. He is farm damage. He's been an effective sniper, not a camper. He's been an effective sniper, and he's done a really good job, 5k damage. But he isn't quite finished yet. There is still quite a bit of hit points left. As you can see, the light tank there and the waffle are both still full hit points. However, this ISU is a 2-shot. So he's going to reload. 6.7 seconds for a TD is absolutely crazy. And of course, if you use the adrenaline, it makes it even better of a reload. Brings it down to around 6 seconds. For a TD that does over 4,000 damage per shot is amazing. It really is good. And I used to love this tank. I really did used to love this tank. However, the meta's changed since I loved the tank. It's more about heavy tanks. You got all the medium tanks now, all auto loaders, the auto reloaders, and that really hasn't done any favors for the Jagdtiger. Now, when I say the armor profile, it's going to work in this situation. He does get the bounce, but this waffle isn't the best of players, and he is now able to take him out. So it's now a 5 versus 1. It is just the T92 left who was full hit points. So he's still, I mean, 1300 block damage is still pretty decent, right, in blocking damage. But I mean, I don't think he should have bounced all of them. It may be RNG, maybe the player. Don't look at that block damage and think, oh, you know what, this can bounce. This can bounce a lot of damage. Don't rely on it. Yes, it can bounce, but you can't rely on it. The only thing you can really rely on this tank is that DPM. Trust me, it's not a frontline tank. It is not a frontline tank. It's not really too much of a support tank either. I mean, like second line, it is at the back. It's best sat at the back because of that DPM. And what way you go, that really determines on the team. Do you help your mediums from the back, or do you help your heavies from the back? Like, it really is dependent on what your team does and where they go, and also of course where the enemy go. Now, maps like the Castilla, there's only one place for this, and that was where he started off. There's maps like Dead Rail, again, there's only one place for this tank, and that is the TD position. Same as mines, there's really only one place for that map. So 7.2k damage, he did a pretty good job, and as you can see, a proper carry there from Will. So next up, we have another tier 9 now on Castilla. As I said, I'm not even going to try, do you know what, I am going to try and pronounce this name. Do you know what? His name's John. We're going to call him John. So John now, again, is on Castilla. And the reason why I showed this map, because it's very unusual where you have a mixture of a team. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the enemy and his team, there's 2 light tanks, a medium tank, and the enemy team has 2 medium tanks and a light tank. Now, usually the medium tanks, light tanks would go left, heavy tanks will go right, which is the standard for this map. However, the whole team pretty much has decided, you know what, fuck the strats, fuck what is supposed to be, we are all going left. Now, sometimes that can be frustrating for your medium tanks and your light tanks, because there's no one spotting on the right side. So if the heavies do come from C and they do go on the hill, then the tanks that are up the top on this castle here, they're going to get shot from the heavy tanks, and there is no one being spotted. However, you have one medium tank on his team sat by C, so he's actually taking the heavies out of the game, while all these players here push these medium tanks. And sometimes it is a decent strat pushing all this side. One of my highest ever damage games was me pushing this side in an E4, because it really catches these guys off guard. They're always like, okay, at the start of the map, they're like, okay, we're going to come up, we're going to be even. We've got three quick tanks here versus 3 quick tanks, and we have 2 TDs at the back, sniping, which will help us. When you start getting heavies and sort of there's 3 heavies around this side, that's when you start, the enemy team start to think, oh fuck, we're screwed. And before you know it, there goes. I mean, within a minute and a minute and a half, all the medium tanks are gone. The medium tank over there, the STA, which isn't best armor, he hasn't got great armor, but he's managed to hold off these heavy tanks that are around there, the 2 heavy tanks on the enemy team. Yes, he is now dead, but he managed to hold them guys off. He didn't do much damage, but he done enough, you know. He done a very good job in just taking out the enemy's heavies tanks, while our heavy tanks on this team did all the work clearing the medium tanks. So that was actually pretty good play from the team. Yes, maybe you could say the ST was in the wrong position at the start. Yes, he shouldn't have gone that way. He should have been here supporting this team, clearing these tanks as quick as they possibly can. But you know what? He kept the heavy tanks out of the game for a long time. So our guy here is now on 3.6k damage, and now he has the heavy tanks that are coming, which one of them is the E75. But again, again, he has his team for support. He has this Ridge, and it is a 4 versus 3. So, you know, he just has to farm this guy, this E75 down. But the Lurver does come to try and help him. So now he's limited to what he can do, how much he can expose of himself. And then I mean, I would definitely ignore the Lurver for now and go for this E75. He's the lower hit point. He's the tier 9, and he's the more dangerous target overall. So he is now backing up. I mean, I'm hoping that his team actually try and help him here. But at the moment, he has got no one to help him. There goes the AMX defender. He just kills himself, like GG AMX, trying to get out of that water now. And now the Conqueror, I think the Conqueror actually is AFK in base A. He catches the base, which is good, but then I think he goes AFK because he stays there for the rest of the game. So our guy, John, here is just taking out these heavies all by himself. He doesn't need no help. 5.8k damage. There goes the E75, and now he just has to deal with the Lurver. However, the IS-3 does die from the Charioteer. Now, the Charioteer is a great tank in the right hands. With the Hesh it's got, it can actually Hesh an E75 from the side or the side of the turret pretty much. So you do have to be very careful of that tank, because that does 500 damage. That could do 500 damage in per shot if he can manage to get behind him. As you can see, he is blocking everything that's coming his way. 3,800 block damage. On top of that, he's managed to farm 6.3k damage. As I've said, he is on his own. The Conqueror is AFK. If the team don't know that, you are alone. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Honestly, John here, he's pro enough to be able to handle these two. And these two are just too scared to push. They're both pretty much one shot, so they're both too scared to push. Now, the Charioteer does start pushing. Now, this is probably the worst situation when you have a tank that is behind a building that is as quick as the Charioteer. This could easily be a draw. At the minute, it's probably, you can see it's going to be a win because they are winning on supremacy points. However, if they was losing on supremacy points, all this Charioteer would have to do is just keep coming around the building. But the Charioteer is not good enough for that. He knows that he can't win in this situation. They're losing on supremacy points. He's a one-shot, so it's not even like he can get around. But I do like what he's trying to do here. He's trying to bait the E75, but unfortunately for him, he's just exposing his tracks too much. And the E75 takes him out. So very, very good team play and a very good game there from the E75. Nearly 5,000 block damage, 7,500 damage, 5 kills, top gun, high caliber. He gets the Radleys, and of course he gets that steel wall. Very, very, very good game there, John. Thank you for sending me that in. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. I'm Meadsy. Send me your OP replays to the email address or on Discord, and I will hopefully get through them if they're good enough. I can't show everything. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye-bye.